Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. My name is Bahamut. Tonight, I am joined by a special guest, Casanova. How are you doing, my friend? And are you ready for some Here's the Storm action?
Man, I'm feeling good. I am so excited to come back. I haven't really touched the game a ton since HGC. I mean, I played a bit in some of the little opens and leagues after HGC, but you know, I've been on a bit of hiatus, casting some Legends of Runeterra, working there, and I've been watching the CCL stuff, the players coming back, and I wanted to jump in somehow, and I think casting is going to be the way to do it. And I'm really excited to cast this with you, Baha. Check out this Division A gameplay.
Yeah.
See what's been going on in the amateur scene.
We have got some Division A West matchup for all of you, but before we get into the draft, real quickly, let's let you all know how we got to Braxis Holdout. The home team this evening is going to be the members of gillyShark. They won the coin flip, opting for first pick priority for game number 1. They banned out Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity. Cursed Hollow and Alterac Pass were banned out by the members of Team Happy Cloud. And they chose to take us to Braxis Holdout for game number 1. As I believe I hear a Stabby Daddy immediately coming in here. Casanova, thoughts on the Imperius as the first pick?
Yeah, great name for him, by the way, Stabby Daddy. Imperius. Now, this is a pick that obviously is a post HGC era hero, and I've been watching a lot of the recent gameplay of these Imperiuses, and they seem monstrous. This pick seems like it would have been dominant back then, and I think it's dominant now. I'm really excited to see more Imperius in CCL and seeing it now. And well, another pick that I think is really dominant right now, I've seen get a lot of bans in the in-houses as well as the exhibition matches, is that Chromie that we see being picked up by Wono.
I love this pickup for them. Now, on the opposing side, they do go Tyrande Junkrat, so they've got some good setup lockdown. They could look for a Diablo or a Garrosh into their draft a little bit later. Ban-wise coming out from them, I think they need to make sure they get rid of some lockdown. Honestly, wow, I was actually going to say, ETC was something that I was considering since they have first pick after this ban phase, because the Junkrat Garrosh synergize so well, but maybe they're going to look for a Diablo, because I'm thinking you want to try and play off the Tyrande stun. Actually, you know what, Casanova?
It's got to be ETC, right?
It could be ETC, but part of me is thinking, like, what if it's Stitches? Like, what if they're actually thinking, like, because they don't have a healer yet, so they actually could ban out Malfurion if. Oh no, sorry, I'm dumb right now. They have Tyrande. I'm already just like, wait, it's the hook root. No, but either way, they're gonna get rid of Raynor because of sustained damage.
It could be hook stun. Tyrande Stitches. I mean, it's a harder combo to pull off than the Malfurion, but I mean, it is a combo that I do love that as well. I expect, I mean, ETC seems so powerful right now from a lot of what I've watched and the little bit that I've played. I think ETC is in a great spot. I think, you know, he's been a pick that gets underrated in a lot of metas, and I think right now, there's no underrating him. He's insane, but it's going to be a Nubarak alongside the Sylvanas. Sylvanas going to give a lot more of that burst to follow up off the Noob and the Tyrande. Well, Junkrat, they've still got him for all that poke. Looks like a pretty solid draft so far. They're just in need of an offlaner to get that 1v1, and they have the counter pick, being on red side, having that R5 counter pick to set up for this, you know, 1-4 lane split that we expect to see.
It's going to be a Zool main tank with a Malthael in the 4-man or the... I'm assuming this is a...
This is interesting.
Actually, I kind of love this because here's the thing. Malthael or Imperius obviously can be played in the solo. And now they're saying, cool, what are you going to take? Because Imperius doesn't have the fastest wave clear, but their 1v1's really strong into some heroes. Malthael is the same kind of way. Their wave clear is actually a little bit better than Imperius, but I actually like this because it reminds me of like when we used to see Arthas picked up super early in draft, just to be like, is it solo Arthas or is it main tank? So now they have this. Now they can say, cool, we can probably Malthael into Dahaka and Imperius down in the 4-man, and that sets up more for the Chromie, more for the Zool, more for the Deckard. I really like the draft for gillyShark here. Casanova, what are you thinking overall for both sides?
Yeah, this is, I like the creativity out of gillyShark. I think this is a very interesting draft, being able to set up, like you said, with that flexibility, force the counter pick to not be so cut and dry. But I do like the response of Dahaka and just kind of sacrifice the top lane and allow the matchup to not be as good, kind of have a diffusal matchup with the Dahaka where he's always going to be able to push, heal up, and then set up to try and win that bottom side by utilizing the global and the aggression you have with the Nubarak Tyrande. You're able to get into the backline with those Dahaka Z's and be able to set up for those drags onto, you know, Deckard, onto Chromie, try and find the picks. when they aggress onto the Shrine. But overall, I really love the creativity. I favor the gillyShark draft a bit, but mainly that's on the back of just the sheer power of the picks like Chromie and Deckard on this map.
I agree with you. The brushstock potential and flank and threat of Dahaka is something they're going to have to consider consistently throughout this game. But the artillery that the gillySharks have is something that I'm really, really excited to see. But let's go ahead and get on into it. On the left-hand side, we have our gillySharks. We've got Zergy on the Malthael. Chesslooter will be on that Imperious. Kaimo Tripson will be on the Deckard Cain. Stark will be on the Zool, and we have Wono on the Chromie.
Yeah, and on the other side, we've got Galaxy Quest playing that Sylvanas, Fade on Anubarak, Brett Michaels on the Dahaka, OJ Juice on Junkrat, and R275 Delta playing that Tyrande.
Sentinel
to the map already.
Oh, they sidestepped the Sentinel. That's a big win right there. We're not GG's. Go next game. Like, at least that's the running. Yeah. That's the running joke with some. I don't know if that was a joke with all of you back in the day, but
oh, of course, yeah. You get hit by the owl, and that's an FF angle for sure. But I love this setup on the top side of the map here. Fade and Delta sitting with Galaxy Quest in the brush. We're going to see them approaching onto the Malthael. The drag already going to land, setting up, but that's a miss on the Impale, and Zergy trying to duck and dodge out of the way, but he's going to be taken down. Burrow Charge going to pick him up, and they're finally going to start that push with Sylvanas turning off these towers straight away.
That was a really good pull from them as well, because they were able to get the Gladiator's Medallion out from Malthael, so that's a 5-minute cooldown in-game, 300 seconds until that'll be up and available. Now, we are having Chesslooter versus OJ Juice in bottom lane, and we were talking about, or at least I was talking about, the factor of the 1v1, and we just saw Chesslooter just Celestial Charge into OJ Juice and take about half their health, forcing the well to be grabbed here. But in top lane right now, Casanova, there's an invade onto this camp.
Yeah, they're already onto the camp, getting into the back line, and this is a jump forward by Galaxy Quest, getting in there with that E, but on the point, there's a root going down onto Anubarak, and he's going to be picked off as they pick up the steal. gillySharks playing that very concisely, getting a lot of pressure onto the Anub straight away, and they're able to pick up that steal.
That was really big from them, just to force the Anubarak off of that point, which then meant that Stark could step on and be able to channel it and confirm the camp for the top lane pressure. Same thing to be said, Stark is going to jump onto that point, and they already had Chesslooter on bottom lane, so they're able to have channel for the Zerg wave in favor for gillyShark, as Team Happy Cloud over here is going to make a flank rotation. No, excuse me, I was misreading the minimap. I thought they were taking the long rotation into Kaimo Tripson, but a time stop is going to set them up for a bit of a fight here.
Yeah, it's a lot of control that they have on this point as we see that Bone Prison go down onto Galaxy Quest. A missed combo there by Tyrande and Anub, and they're not quite being able to land all the CC, but Stark getting caught up into the corner by the Junkrat bomb. They're able to pick up that kill, but a lot of pressure from the Chromie. That's Wono on the backside, getting those W's down on multiple members. Not quite enough to take the fight, but they did get 86% there, Baja. And I think that this control, even though they lost the fight, we see experience in their favor. We see the beacon progress in their favor. It's just the power of this Chromie Deckard combination creating so much pressure on these points.
The pressure is just amounting to too much, even on the opposing side, forcing Stark off, and that was just a bit of a split. And maybe it was just a miscommunicated split and saying, you know, maybe I'm going up here, and there were no potions out from Kaimo Tripson up in that upper portion. We do have Stark stepping onto the point, gonna throw a Bone Prison down. There's gonna be the Celestial Charge in. Fade is gonna Burrow Charge out, and there's a Concussion Mine to get Chesslooter off the point, but Stark will retain this, and that is Zerg Wave in favor for the members of our blue team. gillyShark having that Zerg Wave in top lane, but Team Happy Cloud do have a little bit of their own in bottom.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is that Team Happy Cloud is able to fight back. They're not losing these fights by any means, but they can't retain control of the point. The poke from Chromie, even though Stark is losing so much HP and getting comboed, he's doing his best to stay alive and on the point, while all of Happy Cloud is getting pushed back by all that poke damage, all that sand being chucked out by Wono, and now they're pushing counter to the play, and we see an engage on the Stark.
A little bit, but I think everyone just backs off. I think they threw their own Bone Prism onto Fade, so that just kind of stalled out the fight, and everyone just says, all right, cool, let's back off, let's look for sevens. The Zerg wave is going to be ending in top lane. I do want to call out one thing, and this is a little bit ago, during the last scuffle over the control point for bottom lane. There's a really great flank brushstock coming out from the Dahaka as they find the Burrow Charge. Stark is going to use the Gladiator's Medallion, but this is Brett Michaels down here with the auto as they continue in this fight. Actually, no, backing off, Casanova.
Yeah, able to pick up the quick kill with the Brush Stalker. I really like this play, getting Stark a little bit too far forward. Deckard not able to keep him up, and this is what you want to see out of Team Happy Clown with that Dahaka pick. You want to see these Brush Stalkers being used as often as they can to get advantages, and I like how they immediately go to the camp. We're able to see the stun from Tyrande just trying to slow things down. Fade gonna pick that up, and they should be able to use Sylvanas to try and create a little bit of pressure, but it looks like they're pushed off of this angle. They didn't all rotate out together, and they're going to lose the camp as soon as they got it. But that still is a good amount of experience. It's good to take away that pressure. And they're being active once again. We see a gank on the top side right now, Baha.
That's a root. There's going to be the Lunar Flare, either way, they're not going to connect onto Stark with that one, but they still lock him down. They're trying to actually just use the Curse Strikes to continue to stay alive, but it won't be enough right there. I was looking at the one thing on Dahaka here, Casanova, and I noticed that they actually went into Enhanced Agility at level 1, which allows them to enhance, obviously, their movement speed when they touch those bushes, and it's a maximum of 140 when they finish that out. So you just have this extra speed to be able to literally chase after people and set up these tongue drags with these flanks from these brush stalks, but seems like they're just going to trade out bottom and top. The next Zerg waves will be, I believe, blue in bottom and red in top, if I'm remembering how they spawned last. Yes, so this is actually good pressure for both teams here, Casanova. Good soft pressure into the forts.
Yeah, this is a solid trade. This is going to allow more opportunity for Dahaka to find brush stocks on the top side of the map because there is no fort to retreat to. I would love to see Dahaka move to the bottom side while his team stays on the top and fights for that beacon so that they can utilize this advantage of there being no fort so this Dahaka can actually make plays around the map. But we'll see if Team Happy Cloud agrees with me and goes for that swap because right now Dahaka is still staying on that top side as we start to see mercenary camps being taken.
This will be our Bruiser camp on the left to increase some pressure into that lane. They've also got that, I believe it's the Reaver minion, which allows to see some extra vision into the lane, or at least anything that's around them. Is this an invade onto the camp? Sentinel, there's going to be the Lunar Flare, but can they get it here, Casanova?
Yeah, they're getting onto the point. Bone Prison onto Fade as they try and rip through that Anubarak. He just melts instantly as Zergy Monster puts pressure onto the back line. They're not able to trade anything back, and that's just a clean, quick, concise invade as they take out that Anubarak, and now they're onto the fort with pressure of 5 members of gillyShark. They're going to be getting this one down very quickly as they're pushing that through, and we see Dahaka with the brush stock onto the bottom side as Galaxy Quest is going to be forced to clear this, but I don't think he can. Junkrat's got to get up there. This is still a 5-man push from gillyShark as they get onto these keep front towers. And this is a lot of pressure as the flip over the wall. That's going to be Zool taken down immediately. Bone Prison not going to really get any follow-up onto Fade, and it's a dash forward for Sylvanas, but not more than that. That's going to be a clear of this wave on the keep. And overall, still, gillyShark loses Zool, but we look at the map pressure, Baha, and once again, they're still advantaged. It's not really a big problem for them as he dies because 5 more seconds and he's up already, and they're going to be able to get, 5% on the beacons, probably not much more than that, and set up to regroup and play for another fight.
I really like the call coming out from them, and it's been consistently good calls from, I believe it's Stark who's their shot caller, and just the invade onto the camp on the top right of the map. That was just a really good call. They're like, I'm gonna just step through this bush. I'm probably gonna eat a lot of CC, but just keep stepping through with me. And then Chessleader was able to get the Celestial charge through. Same thing to be said in top lane, and they kept pushing into that lane while they were clearing bottom, and they had that vision. They knew that Dahaka brushstock down there and was in the lane, and I believe they had vision of Junkrat, so they knew they had the man advantage in top. That Junkrat, though, caught them off guard with that concussion mine, forcing the Zool over the wall, but they still get some decent siege into top. They get the keep front gate. If the Zerg wave is picked up, it's going to go into bottom lane, but overall, Casanova, this has been well played by gillyShark. They're min-maxing their losses so well.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the kills and it's 2-5. gillyShark is, of course, behind in that department, but the control over the map has been entirely in their favor this entire game. We see there was one trade, but with that, there's going to be an engage, and that's the burrow charge on the backline. A big ISO and a big combo taking down the backline of gillyShark as we see Dahaka trying to finish off Deckard, but the Wailing Arrow will be his demise as Stark gets tongued up on the point. He's going to be taken down very soon. Trying to run away is that Zul, but he's going to fall, and there's just one final member as Imperius gets his way over the wall. Monster just clearing out the top side. But that is the fight that Team Happy Cloud needed, and they're going on to the boss, Baha.
With 3 members down, Zul down for 13 specifically, they can easily take this boss. That was a great web wrap to set things up for the friendly team, and then they were just able to lock down 2 and just burst the health down. Great hold from Galaxy Class on the Wailing Arrow just to utilize it in that last moments of the fight to be able to either get the silence to sustain the fight or even look for that last little bit of damage as they found it. Really, really well played from Team Happy Cloud, holding very well until they really needed to use all their abilities. And this will be Boss now going into bottom lane as they have control of the beacons. This will be 98% though overall for the gillyShark. So if either way, this is going to be a big Zerg wave for both sides, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's crazy how they were able to pick that up just in time from gillySharks being able to get the objective, and now they can somewhat time this boss into an immediate follow-up Zerg wave. Now they'll still have to deal with this 98% wave from gillySharks, but having the Sylvanas with the full wave will be very scary, but this might be the engage here, Baha.
Celestial Charge goes in, Stay Well, and Listen's going to connect onto the Anubarak, who burrow charged in. Riptire was out from the Junkrat as there's an isolation onto this Malthael. The Skeletal Mages come out from Zul. Celestial Charge is going to be mitigated by the Gladiator's Medallion as they throw the Angelic Armament in. Chest Looter wants this kill, but Brett Michaels with the speed boost from the Enhanced Agility gets away. But you called it, Casanova. They need to now rotate to top, clear that out, but it seems like only Malthael to go clear things out. They want to push hard bottom lane.
We see the map pressure is heavily in the favor of a gillyShark once again. They are on the map while the other side of Team Happy Cloud was chunked out and had to back, so they can't capitalize with their Sylvanas. This gives the opportunity for gillyShark to just send the Malthael to slow clear while they get to push. It's their time on the map, we like to say, and they're going to be trying to take this keep with the pressure from the Zerg wave. 98, not quite 100, but it's almost there as we get the charge onto Dahaka. He might be able to fall here. Does not quite go down as we see the burrow charging. Was that a Wailing Arrow and a Chest Looter? Not quite enough. Finally, they take him down, but Anub and Dahaka fall in return, and OJ Juice is falling to the Zerg wave himself. It's not going to be looking too good overall for Happy Cloud, even though they did take 1 kill here. As Zul oversteps his bounds a little bit, Galaxy Quest going to pick that up, and Riptire starting to chase down gillyShark, but just going to clear away the Zerg wave, and it's just going to be the keep going down on the side of Happy Cloud. gillyShark able to win that 4v5.
I gotta say, that was so well played from both sides, recognizing that Zul was just a wee too far forward and just punishing that. It's very hard to like notice those things and punish them the way they did, but they did such a great job of that. But the same thing can be said for the gillyShark. They managed their lane so well. They poked and pushed when they needed to. Obviously the Zul overextension's an overextension, but they still get the keep. They still get a couple kills, and I gotta shout out Wono for the artillery dumped from the backline for those 2 early kills as they were pushing onto the keep. Insanely well played from the gillyShark aggressively, but great plays coming out from Team Happy Cloud on the defensive posture, as this is an invade onto the camp potentially, Casanova.
It looks like it. Fade just checking through the brush, gonna get time stopped right now. Will there be any follow-up? No, the stun is going to miss as we see the Starfall being committed very early by Delta, and it's not gonna get any purchase against gillyShark, and now it's time for gillyShark to make their move. Starfall down, Stark on the flank with this Zul. He's approaching in, trying to find a flank here, looking for Delta with Zergy Monster as we see the wall of Skeletal Mages. Delta stuck in a corner, gonna get locked up by the Bone Prison, but Stark is gonna fall almost immediately. Galaxy Quest trying to get damage, but Wono is raining hell from above, getting so much damage with these sand blasts, and that is going to be 3 down already on the side of Happy Cloud as the drag lands on to Kaimo. He's going to stay alive for a lot longer, though. Deckard with that passive going to have plenty of healing. Dahaka himself's not going to be able to do it, and OJ Juice does not have the grenades to get through, and that is just going to be a 2 for 3 in favor of gillyShark.
An absolute insane scuffle back and forth. I wasn't expecting that trade to happen the way it did, but you called it immediately. It was, you had the Zool getting picked off because they were stepping into the Anubrek to set up a kill, and while the Zool gets picked off, yes, the Anubrek goes down because with their fleeting breath, I believe they got a bone prison onto them, so that just allowed Chromie to, as you say, just rain down hellfire and just dump so much sand on top of these players. It is going to be 16-16. It is going to be 7-12 in our levels. Or excuse me, 7-12 in our kills, as I'm watching, I was about to say 16-16, then we changed levels all of a sudden, but I was watching minimap to see them invade onto this camp. Stark wants to defend, but they're not showing Chess Looter and Zergy. The rest of the friendly team coming in here, Casanova, I think we're in for a treat, as it's even talent tiers.
Yeah, this is going to be a big fight. The winner of this could take the game because 100% Zerg at this point can be devastating, and neither side has the most amazing clear. Now, Junkrat's pretty good. Chromie with the changes, you know, that happened forever ago, but I'm kind of a boomer in this game, but we're going to have an engage. That's going to be a cocoon onto Deckard, and the pickoff on Zool immediately. The Wailing Arrow going to connect on 3, as that's an isolation. Going to be chasing down onto Kaimo, but he gets out of range of the tongue, and that is just going to be a Riptire. Bouncing off the back of him, not doing enough damage, and Baja, not as much as we would have thought. Just a quick pick onto Zool, and they're going to pick up both beacons. Do you think gillySharks can actually bring this one back as far as picking up both sides? They do have pressure on the bottom side.
They have some good team fight. If they can lock down one, they could burst them down with Chromie, and there's going to be the initial setup. They're going to step in right now with Zergy as well. Stay a while and listen coming out, but that's Sylvanas in the backline. Wono trying to get away. Zergy goes down to the Sylvanas damage. OJ Juice so very low, but it's going to get the healing from Delta just in time. Wono on the bottom of our screen will go down to Sylvanas as Kaimo's being chased by said Sylvanas, who locks down the towers. This is Brett Michaels getting the channel, and they actually move over to Boss. So I actually didn't see where Chess Leader was going, but it seems like they gave up on the chase on Imperius, and they just want boss pressure, because if I'm not mistaken, this boss pressure should go into bottom lane, because it should work on the same way as Battlefield of Eternity. It should prioritize the most well-defended lane, and this is a benefit for the members of Team Happy Cloud, because this is also their Zerg rush wave. This is massive for them. So all gillyShark can do is delay things out with a couple cheeky, you know, touches onto these points, but Dahaka's in top, the enemy team's in bottom. They're going to have to set up for a defense here as Chromie's down for 9, and Malthiel's just about to respawn.
Yeah, I mean, this is a massive advantage for Happy Cloud. This is where that global, that Dahaka pick really pays off. Because even though, yes, they had the man advantage on the map, it becomes impossible for gillyShark to get anything done because Dahaka can play on both sides of the map because of his global. And they're going to pick up Mercs on the top side to create a little bit of pressure to go along with the boss Zerg wave push on the bottom. And they need to get down there to defend it pretty quickly here, as there is a lot of time that they're giving gillyShark to get free damage onto this boss. But we look at their composition, and with Imperius, Zool, and only the Chromie to defend, they're not able to get enough, as we see a bit of a cheeky attempt at an engage from Fade, but not able to connect on anything yet. Baja, they're going to be pushing in. We're going to see potentially an engage to try and get past this, but there's so much junk pushing into the base. It's impossible for Chromie to land for any Q abilities, so it all comes down to that W, trying to get those big blasts, and Galaxy Quest has dropped quite low as this massive wave is starting to connect on the core. We're going to see if they can start to push through. Chess Looter going to get stopped by that Cocoon, as we see a big stay a while and listen. Zergy Monster connecting on everybody, picks up the kill on Sylvanas as Dahaka is getting taken down in the front line. Zergy Monster 1v5 in the back line, picking up kills and pushing through, trying to get even more as he gets one, can't find another, and he repels the push. Now, Happy Cloud has to retreat, Baja. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get them all away. OJ Juice ending up prematurely exploding the Riptire. And gillyShark might be able to end here, Baja.
I just watched Tyrande go, Mr. President, I got you! And they double back as OG Juice and Anubrek are able to get out. But if Tyrande didn't double back right there, they still would have been chasing. So I think it's one of those things that Tyrande just gave their life in hopes that Fade and OG Juice can live. Chess Looter just takes a lot of damage. That's a burrow charge out from Fade, but they turn around. That's going to be Anubrek going down. Wono will use the time stop. Will be able to get over to a potion. OJ Juice is trying to whittle them down, but this core, in a turn of events, is starting to fall in favor for the members of the gillySharks as Zergy Monster's getting low. Chess Looter will get picked up, but do they have enough? Do they have enough damage, Casanova?
Galaxy Quest is up! He's going! Whoa, no! He's 20%! He can't do it! There's no way!
They're already, oh my god! It's not even a Caleris core. It's not even Caleris. The defined Caleris core is 5%. We don't even get that. We're cheated of it. But they're going to run...
Can't quite get there, and they're running straight to the other core. They're trying to counter core 99% Baja. They got 4 members going right now, but that's Malthael with no one can stop Death. I don't know if they can do this, Baja. I'm not sure. 30 seconds, and they have to get through this Malthael. I mean, we're going to see OJ Juice going to tank it up right away because Galaxy Quest tries to put the damage down. They do land the stun combo on the Virgin Monster, and they take him down. And I think that should be able to be the game, but their core damage isn't actually exceptional. But right now, they've already cracked open the shields, and Imperius is up in 5, but it's already down to 50%. I think this one is just going to be it. I think Team Happy Cloud is going to counter core 20%, and that's just going to do it as well. Galaxy Quest dives in, but still only 3% left. And while that wasn't super close, it was a little closer than I thought it was going to be as they ended up on that core. And oh my God, Baja. Back and forth. It looked like Team Happy Cloud should have had it in the first place when they went with that massive wave, but gillyShark turns it around and runs to the enemy core, but they get it down to 6% and they can't finish. What a game, Baja.
I'm blown away by the back and forth. And this is game number 1 of our first best of 3 of the evening. Like, Grassroots esports never disappoints me. Like a lot of people are just like, oh, they're not professionals, whatever, blah blah blah. Shut up! Like, it's good games. You rarely get 6% cores like this. I actually like I haven't seen a counter core like this in so long, Casanova. This has been an absolute great game to start things out. Really, anything that catches your eye looking at just maybe some of the talents or some of the stats that you weren't really expecting to come out from them? You know, the healing numbers or even just the amount of damage in comparison to Junkrat? Because I was actually expecting Junkrat to be way higher than Sylvanas. Galaxy Quest really did a number.
I habitually snap left the lobby, so I'm looking at it on stream now.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
And so looking at most of the talents, there's actually nothing too surprising for me. A lot of this is very standard from what I'm used to. For what I've been watching recently, it's more just the fact that I was impressed with Galaxy Quest play in those final few fights in getting onto the backline and really assassinating the big threats of Wono and Kaimo. You need to get that damage onto the Deckard. You can't leave him up just free casting potions, putting him under pressure. And Galaxy Quest was able to do that quite a bit in this game. I was really impressed with the Sylvanas play overall.
I think going into game number 2, we can't see a Sylvanas again. I think it was way too strong for the members of Team Happy Cloud. They got too many moments of diving into the backline. Like, I think you said it so well once we got out of this game. Galaxy Quest constantly was peeling Wono and Kaimo Tripson away from the friendly team. And there were a lot of those moments where a stay while and listen would come out, and Wono was actually trying to run through the stay while and listen to bait Galaxy Quest through it. And Galaxy was like, cool, I'll just go hit Deckard Cain instead because the old man's standing still. So it was really heads up play coming out from Team Happy Cloud. A great back and forth overall between both teams. And I'm excited for our next map. We can bring it back to our lovely faces as people have probably seen the maps long enough. And, Casanova, sitting where you sit with your knowledge, what do you prioritize? Like, when you're on the losing end of a game like that, do you want first pick or do you want map pick? Like, is there any sort of rhyme or reason for you to go for one over the other?
So it can depend on meta, and I'm not as versed as I'd love to be in the very, this exact meta, but generally there have been a lot more metas where first pick is better, and there's a lot of power picks that I think, things like Chromie, things like the Diva or the Urel, if you want to ban one, try and pick the other. I think there are a lot of good opportunities for first pick. So from, what I'm looking at, surface level thinking, I really do like first pick on this patch. I think it's very good. I think there's a lot of good strategies that you can move into. The other side of it is if you have a cheesy comp where you have a counter pick for R5, you can go for that map pick, have second pick, and set up to have that specific counter pick available on R5 on the map that you want. And that all comes down to your preparation going into an event. I know these are amateur matches, but it doesn't mean that players haven't done their prep. So if this is a team that prepares a lot for their tournament matches, thinks a lot about the drafting phase, then we could see them go for a red side pick, have that, you know, R5 last pick to try and counter something and create a big wave on the map of their choice. But this is Tomb of the Spider Queen, which, I'm spoiling.
That's okay. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's okay.
Tomb of the Spider Queen. But this is I believe Happy Cloud's map twist, right? This is
yes, this will be because first pick was chosen by the losing team, which was gillyShark. Right. So
okay. So they have picked first pick, which to me lends towards just they're focusing on, hey, we think we're, you know, a good enough team that we're you know, we lost on a 6% core. Let's just go back to basics. Let's pick what we think is really good. Let's take that first pick and let's go for the win here.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see the solo lane matchup here, and it's something that like I always talk about a lot in my own streams and casting, even when I'm doing solo, because we don't watch enough of the solo lane, and I always like to make the joke that it's like 3D chess, but there are so many layers to the actual solo lane. Like you have to, you have to know the rotations from the enemy team if your friendly team isn't calling them out. So like, let's say there's a gray man on the opposing side and they disappear from the top to mid rotations. If your team's not calling that out and you're watching it, at least you know gray man's a threat in your bottom lane, so don't overextend. And then there's moments where it's like, oh, my team's gonna be engaging in top lane for quite some time. They're gonna miss the mid lane soak. I need to know to rotate up. So there's just a lot of little things like that, and just a lot of map calling and strategizing that you can do from just kind of that control position in the bottom lane. And it's always just fun to see. Do they play aggressive? Do they play passive? Do they try and play a little cheeky and, flank past and maybe look for the snipe onto the well? It's just Tomb of the Spider Queen, and any map like Dragonshire as well, where you kind of have this isolated solo lane for quite a bit of the game, is always fun for me to check out, and that's what I'm most excited for draft-wise, like what we're going to see, because you were talking about this, this R5, this last pick, this, counter pick, if you will, because you can choose, or at least you see the enemy team's draft. It's such an interesting dynamic that a lot of the teams actually have learned and picked up as they've been just playing more and more, like, oh, we need to hold this slot because we kind of have the counter pick in a sense. Like, let's say they choke all and we have this floating last pick, like, cool, we can Malthael, we can Tychus, we have that opportunity. So it's interesting the way that you analyze the game and the way that the grassroots scene has slowly kind of broken it down and started to kind of almost not catch up, but do the exact same things everyone else previously was doing. It's just always exciting to see. But regardless, in the end, my whole answer to you, Tomb of the Spider Queen solo lane is oftentimes a good time. Yep. But I'm excited to see what our team fights look like in the core 4 rotations between top and mid, as I believe we're about to get into game. I think everyone's got the readies. I guess last question for you as we're kind of loading in here. What do you want to see? Like, is there a hero that you're like, Tomb, that's the hero? Meme or not? Meme or not?
If I want to throw out the meme, there's obviously the Tomb of the Spider Queen Nova. That's an old Space Station Gaming classic. 95% win rate in scrims, 0% win rate in the HGC with that pick. In all seriousness, I think Tracer has always been very good on this map, and I think when teams can execute a Tracer on this map very well, it is extremely oppressive. I know there's been a lot of changes to Tassadar, so it's not quite the same anymore as an old TAS Tracer on this map, but I do think if you can execute a good Tracer, it's exceptional on this map. I do want to talk about a little bit the point, you were talking about solo lanes, and I think that in this game, solo lane and tank are the two roles that actually are the biggest impact. You'll notice heavily if you have a solo lane player that is miles ahead of the enemy solo lane player. You will see XP differentials. You will lose games to solo lane diff. That is a term we can bring from League to Heroes for that role in particular. Solo lane diff is a real thing, and I think it's incredibly important on this map as well. You don't think about Tomb solo lane as much as you do, a Braxis or a Dragonshire, but it is massive. Having the ability to play well in the side lane here. And it's not just about dominating your matchup, it's playing around ganks, setting up ganks, and now that experienced globes exist, you can actually look to set up freezes, push your opponent off the lane. There is a lot of high-level gameplay that didn't exist when I played this game professionally that you can actually do now due to the XP changes in the side lane that has made solo lane an even more skill-intensive role than it has ever been.
As someone who loses in top lane in League on a regular basis, I know exactly what you mean about solo lane diff, because it's usually what I like, as usually what my teammates say to me. On the note of literally like denial experience and all that kind of stuff, that was actually the D.Va ban, as you were just saying, that was kind of just perfect timing due to the fact that D.Va has been talked about as someone who can deny experience. You use that nitro boost to kind of bop people around. A good person that counters a person that D.Va counters and has been talked about as of late is Yrel. Utilizing before Yrel uses Avenging Wrath to literally jump on the wave, you can use the Nitro boost to bop them before that happens, and that basically mitigates their actual lane clear or the lane clear speed. So it's just interesting things that have developed even with the meta that exists with our experience globes, but also the fact that, you know, D.Va's been changed, so now we're changing even more so the solo lane. So let's get off the solo lane train that we've been on. We do have a Sylvanas Tyrande respect ban, we have an Imperious respect ban, and a D.Va ban, as a Chromie will be snap picked, and a Diablo Greymane Cass. This is looking so dive heavy for the members of Team Happy Cloud.
Yeah, this is really scary to be a Chromie normally when you see Greymane Diablo. It's a little bit better now than it used to be, especially with all the changes, where I do think Chromie is a very first pickable DPS. I think she's just very strong. She's got a lot of tools to escape, but Greymane Diablo is certainly going to be scary, and ETC, I think, is the perfect response to Greymane Diablo. I think using that face melt, you can easily interrupt the engages from Diablo, but also you just make Greymane a sad puppy, as he can't really get in to get any of those melee attacks, and he just becomes kind of scuffed Rainer at this point, where it's very hard for him to find engages. But what I would like to see when I look at a Junkrat Chromie is say, screw this ETC, I'm going to play Greymane, I'm going to find flanks, and I'm going to go for the throat, because you can take down Chromie and Junkrat instantly with that ability. So I would love to see Galaxy Quest go for something like that, go for the throat, go for the increased range on E, and go for something like a Wizened Duelist, and just go extremely aggressive onto this back line throughout this game. And we'll see if that's the style. I know a lot of Greymanes aren't comfortable playing that style nowadays, but the Yrel ban, I actually thought once you said, hey, let's stop talking about the solo lane, we were immediately going to talk about the solo lane, because I did I expected a Yrel pick on one of the sides, but maybe both offlaners aren't really comfortable on this pick, or just not really feeling it for Tomb. But I think Tomb is a great map for Yrel, as she can get that lane priority and rotate and influence the map very heavily.
I think there's something to be said about a potential counter Leoric maybe, and especially on Tomb, you don't want to maybe set the enemy team up for that Leoric counter into them, because Entomb for either team right now is great. Like Entomb Apocalypse, Entomb Lightning Breath, those are great. Yeah.
You said Leoric, and if gillyShark doesn't pick Leoric, I
actually really want them to pick it up here. Yeah.
Look at this spot, Baha. This is an insane Leoric game.
Yeah.
And there it is. Yeah, I mean, this is absurd for Leoric. You've got Chromie Junkrat to follow up, but also Sonya in lane. You're against a Diablo. Greymane also gets a little annoyed by you. Like, Leoric's not your favorite thing. Well, he's my favorite thing when I play Greymane, because I always play Wizen. So I pick the Talon on 7 and I go farm it off Leo.
Yeah.
But in the late game, it's tough to play into that. And an Ana is an immobile support. If Ana gets caught by Entomb, Chromie and Junkrat are gonna eat her for breakfast. It's not gonna be pretty. Lunara is a little bit harder to lock down with that Entomb, can have that leaping strike to get out. I like the Lunara pick. I think it's great into Whitemane, who does not heal poke very well.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, because of that, I see Lunara, I see Whitemane. It's like I almost want it to be Vine.
A little bit, yeah.
I see Greymane on the side too, so it's like if we go for the throat leaping strike, you just get on this Whitemane Junkrat and Chromie, this squishy backline. If you've got some good coordination, I mean, go leap here, and just kill off this backline. You have so many tools to just destroy Chromie, Whitemane, and Junkrat. Like, this is where I'd love to see more, talent diversity and the ability to adapt. It's something that I don't even think players were very good at doing in the HGC back in the day.
Oh no! Oh my God, no!
When I've watched the CCL and when I've watched a lot of in-houses, I think players are really bad at this still. This is something that I would love to see improved on throughout the course of CCL, is players being very adaptable and willing to pick things that there aren't the meta or the thing that everyone is like, oh, well, you have to build this on that. You don't have to build anything on anyone, but you have to have logic behind your choices. I'm not saying go pick whatever because you want to. I'm saying look at the spot you're in and critically think about what would be good here. If I see go for the throat, leaping strike, leap, and APOC. How does Chromie Whitemane Junkrat deal with that? What are they going to do? Junkrat might be able to get away. Maybe we see an ice block on Chromie, but that's not going to last long enough to get through all of those aggressive tools in the late game. And they're going to have to play the map extremely well to get a lead, because we look at the level 10 team fight, and I think it's very favored towards the side of Happy Cloud.
I think if they go leap, and basically if they go into this dive-centric, heroic division, no, not division, talent tier direction, there we go. This is going to be a difficult game for gillyShark, but I also want to point out too, ETC has so much control here. Junkrat has so much control too. So yes, they have dive, but you also have face melt, and I'm assuming we're going to go loudspeaker at level 4 because you want the increased range. But other things that you have as well as, you know, you have these concussion mines from Junkrat, and I'm hoping that we actually might see like cooldown. I believe there's cooldown reduction on them. I might be completely spacing on this on talents, but it's a lot of defensive tools already in the pocket for gillyShark if we're just kind of talking about talents and as the game will progress, because this is Tomb of the Spider Queen. Let's be honest, the beginning of the game is very stagnant, where it's just going to be rotations. We might have a fight here and there as we just see ETC face melting the Diablo right there, but it's the 10 talents here is going to be one thing, but the fights as the game progresses are going to be so much more interesting. And wow, Greymane actually snuck all the way down here, but Chromie with Time Walker's Pursuit sniffs it out. Casanova, like, I think like the level of excitement and the level of aggression from both sides after that first game is really, really high here.
Yeah, we see a slide. I don't think this is going to get much, but it does get the Gladiator's Medallion, so that is definitely like big worth as we see the sleep onto Junkrat, a little bit of trade back from OJ Juice. But I wanted to talk about, I absolutely agree with you that ETC could solo carry this game if he plays it exceptionally. If they pick those dive-centric ultimates, that's where ETC is so good. Especially now, I know Encore has been the meta for a while. What I would like to see out of ETC is to take, you know what? I can't remember the name. It's been too long. I can't remember the talent names.
Is it the
13 talent that reduces the cooldown if you hit 2 targets? It puts it on essentially like a between a 3 and 5 second cooldown for your face melt, and just spamming those out repeatedly, proccing block party for your teammates and proccing, you know, getting everybody off of them, spamming that and interrupting the Greymane. It'll be so important and impactful, and I would love to see that talent choice if we see the aggressive heroics coming out of the side of Happy Cloud.
I agree. Like, I'm actually, the entire time you were saying that, I was like, what is that talent? Because I know Cattle takes it here and there. It is to be said that it's basically the argument. Those are the 2 talents at level 13 for ETC at this point. I would say that it's probably, in all the games I've been casting, it's probably like 75-25 when it comes to the pick rate in favor of Encore, because it's a 7.2 second cooldown off of your heroic. That's nuts. So hard to argue against. And if you hit this, you can literally hit one hero with your face melt and the boombox, and you're getting 14.4, and that's just off of one hero. Imagine if everyone's in a corridor where Diablo likes to fight, and you're just bopping everyone constantly. Like, I have seen so many mosh pit cooldowns go from, like, you know, 2 minutes to just 20 seconds after one single fight. Either way, we are still on Tomb. We are still in our rotations. We have some good camp grabs from both sides, but as we said at the beginning, it's a bit of a passive map at the start. We do have a little dive here and there, but it's 0-0 in kills, 6-6 in our levels. Some camp pressure still existing in bottom lane as Zergy Monster's trying to force back Brett Michaels. They're using their spin to win in that bottom lane, and turn availability actually just came through in favor for Team Happy Cloud. Will they be delayed out by the gillySharks?
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting setup so far. Not a ton of gems in as we see an engage onto Veggies, but he's just going to be able to slide away as the boop onto Fade pushes him into the towers. But there's not the damage to kill Diablo on this comp, at least not in the early game, not without Leoric there. So Diablo's feeling pretty good with all his souls, kind of just vibing out here, getting a lot of fire stomps to heal back up as we see a couple more gems being turned in, as the overall aggression has been mostly in this solo lane from the Leoric. We see the camp has been taken for the side of gillySharks as a slide again onto Diablo, but I don't think we're ever going to see that result in the kill. If anything, Veggies now not having slide becomes a little bit more at risk as we see a time stop onto OJ Juice and a little bit more damage. But actually, interestingly enough, Wono we saw play very well in that Chromie in the last game, won't be on it this game. It is going to be Stark piloting that one. Is another slide onto Diablo. Wow. He does get rooted up this time. Are they actually going to get him? They do. He stays a little bit too long, a little bit too much hubris from Icarus there as he stays forward, flying a little too close to the sun. Keeps tanking up that damage, and eventually it adds up as Chest Looter turns in the face of Galaxy Quest. I don't think Diablo is supposed to be able to die there, but staying in just a little bit too long, and the constant pressure being put out by the side of gillyShark.
If you can't, if you don't have a chance to push any of your buttons, you're definitely gonna go down against this team. If you look at this, yes, there's a lot of burst from Chromie, but I think a lot of people undervalue the level of burst that does come out from Junkrat. I'm actually gonna cycle through the other numbers for a little bit here, just so stream can see what the damage, experience, and healing is looking like. But I'm just curious as to right now, it's 10,000 from the Chromie. We're looking at 6,500 from the Junkrat. So Chromie's still actually on top when it comes to damage, but I just think the chest looter damage from Junkrat, because I've just seen it so many times in the past, is a big thing to consider and also just be cautious of, because they really know how to single target burst, and we kind of saw that in that last engagement, as the Webweaver phase will come down in favor for gillyShark. First one of the game entirely. What do they get here besides just the front gate? Do they rotate at top, or can they go for fort?
Well, they've collapsed 5 to top here. It looks like they wanted to try and get 10s and look for a fight, but I don't think they're going to make it. However, they have rotated up 5, and Sonya's not here, so they can try and go a bit aggressive. Fade gonna get hit by the power slide once more, and now that they have Zergy Monster, they can be a little bit more threatening to the Diablo. They were able to kill him earlier, but I think that's not gonna happen very commonly. And they just get about half the fort. I don't think they missed much soak, though. I think Zergy Monster did a good job of catching all the waves before rotating up, and that's just the solo laner, a counter pick matchup, giving him good opportunities to create pressure across the map.
This, Zergy's doing a great job of just macroing, and Brett Michaels is, stuck in bottom lane, but that's not a bad thing because the friendly team is still, picking up experience and soak through the top and mid. The one thing I want to note here, and I believe I was distracted because ADD, and also there's too many things happening in the game. You were mentioning that Wono and Stark were swapping off on the Chromie. I actually got a message from Stark that was like, oh, or no, they raided into me yesterday, and they were like, oh, apparently I know how to play Chromie. And in some of the games before Season 10 started, I think Wono actually was healing me a ton. I think he originally came onto the gillyShark roster as the healer. I might be wrong on that, but Fade just fire stomps out, and we have 10 talent tiers as the turn in availability will be here for our red team. Can they stall it out? Not the case, actually.
Well, I didn't get what I wanted, Baha.
No?
See Bullet. We see
I know. No, Hey, welcome to Grassroots, where you're eternally disappointed.
Look, oh man, I do think I can understand going for comfort. You went in with a game plan of okay, we're gonna play Diablo Grain main. We're gonna set up to just go on the front line, set up the bullet. Good way to kill ETC. We get the leaping strike. We have some things, some opportunity to get on the back line. But Greymane also going range on 7, so focusing on hitting the front line. And as this game scales, I think Junkrat Chromie is going to be pumping out more damage from far away than you are with Greymane. So this is going to be a very mid-game spiking composition, and I'd like to see what they're able to do with these Webweavers. I'd actually like to see some fights forced. I'd like to see Fade get a bit aggressive. If we ever see that face melt come out from Veggies, I want Fade to be ready to just engage a fight, especially when they have Brett Michaels here. And yeah, there's going to be the respect from gillyShark as they back off. They're not actually going to defend this whatsoever. But they do have their whole team here. Maybe we see an Entomb. It looked like Zergy Monster maybe wanted it, but realizing his team's a bit too far away, can't follow up. Really good communication from the side of gillyShark not to actually go for that. And yeah, now just going to be a back off from Happy Cloud as they retreat to try and turn in their second round of gems.
Both teams actually have enough for a turn-in on the side of Team Happy Cloud. As of note, they just have 69 in their pockets currently, so very nice right there. Zergy did a great job during that objective phase to clear out mid and bottom, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the reason we were seeing the gillySharks be so passive in the top lane, not trying to step into the enemy side, because it was 4v5. Power slide in from Veggies will connect, and that's the Unstoppable used onto Fade. Entomb coming out, Mosh Pit onto the side, Leaping Strikes from Lunara will connect onto Veggies. Apocalypse will be from Fade as well, as the Riptire is interrupted on the left-hand side. Wrath of Berserker will be used. ETC goes down. Wono being spun on, and Casanova, they actually don't get the damage they need for that kill. Wono might survive.
Yeah, he's able to get out, but Zergy Monster steps a little too far forward, and that's 24 gems on the ground. No one can really pick that up. They've got Junkrat, Whitemane, and Chromie. Try to step to a Greymane with that right now. See what happens, and that's going to be 24 left on the ground as Happy Cloud able to pick up a couple of kills in the fight. Did you see that leaping strike from OJ Juice there? That Lunara escaping from the Entomb and the Mosh Pit, getting over and dealing a massive amount of damage to the ETC in the process. A really well-played fight by the ranged assassin for Happy Cloud, and they're able to find a big win, and they're able to deny a bunch of gems, pick up their own turn-in, and they're able to get a fort without having to have the turn-in first. And they're setting up for the third fort to be down already. This is a lot of pressure, and I talked about how this is a mid-game spiking composition with the ultimate choices that they picked. And, well, they're spiking. They're finding a lot of pressure. They're creating a lot of opportunities and a lot of plays, and this is what you want to see when you draft this Diablo Greymane.
This is really, really powerful for the members of Team Happy Cloud as they continue to push through bottom lane. They're going to see the enemy team in mid and top clearing things out. Brett Michaels will just rotate over here with the Ancient Spear into lane. Fade. Fire stomps out. This is just a tense kind of hold for a red team as I think they're banking on getting a lot of siege in through bottom. But they need to be able to step up, and the slowing sands from Chromie are really not allowing that. OJ Juice is getting a little bit of poke here and there. There's going to be the Time Walker's Pursuit vision, but realistically, just going to see the lane getting cleared out. They back off, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they're not close to a turn-in on the side of Team Happy Cloud, but overall, they have a lot of map pressure. It still is even talent tiers, 1-2 in kills, 13-14 in our levels, and we do have the encore for the ETC, 13 being a big power spike for the members of the gillyShark, is they also have subjugation on the white main, which is a big pickup for her to be able to, well, subjugate anyone who's trying to step in. And since this is such a big step forward team, I really like that pickup because I believe it's 50% damage reduction. Yes, reduces all damage to the targets by 50%. So, and it's also great because if you ever get to cast a Deathwing game and there's a subjugated Deathwing, it's just smaller scaled by 50%. And it's so cute because he just looks like a semi-normal sized dragon. I don't know, either way. My rant and ramble aside, Zergy finds themselves on an island in bottom lane. Can they get away with their level 13 ability?
Yeah, there is the bullet available for Galaxy Quest as we do get the stun into the wall, the sleep with the bullet, but that's a great slide from Veggie as we see the nano boost onto Diablo. That mosh pit's not going to get anything at all as it's interrupted by the Apocalypse, but now we see that Riptire and the Entomb combo as Fade tries to stay alive. Really get another Fire Stomp out. That's a big heal from Stark, hitting everybody with the ultimate as OJ Juice tries to kite away. Still big trades, but at the end of the day, there's just not enough damage out of the Chromie and the Junkrat quite yet to get through all the healing that Diablo and Anna have. That Spell Shield putting in work because there's so many souls, and there's just not good ways to deal with him other than the Leoric, but the Leoric was getting pressured down far too heavily, and he's gone for the 13E build, so he's not going for more damage. He's going for more of that Wraithwalk talents to try and prevent OJ Juice and the Greymane from pushing all that damage forward. And I think the issue that they're going to run into is this Diablo is going to be nigh unkillable, and they're going to continue to get pressured down by the Lunara. So this is going to be pretty tough as they get further into the late game, and Diablo just becomes tankier and tankier.
This, you were noting that there's the soul shield at level 1 for the Diablo, but also note that there's going to be the spell shield, the greater spell shield for the Lunara at level 13. Right. And that, you were noting that they had, at least Diablo had that talent, and I was watching the Entomb in that last engagement. The Riptire did literally nothing to Diablo and to Fade and OJ Juice. And I didn't realize it till that moment. I was like, holy crap, the value from just those two talents on those two heroes didn't, if they didn't have those talents, I think that fight would have been completely different. Right now, Zergy trying to go for the turn-in as the gillySharks do have 62 gems in their pockets, 23 currently turned in. Can they get themselves a Web Weaver for a little bit of pressure? If they can, this will be top lane already coming in. Power slide from the ETC. Does the fight continue, Casa?
Yeah, it's going to be an APOC. Big combo to the Junkrat, and he's going to disappear as that's a leaping strike into the backline. Finally, continue to chase onto Stark as Brett Michaels has found the flank onto Wono. He's going to be able to take him down rather than Berserker. That's so much damage, and OJ Juice trying to continue onto Stark. Gets a lot of poke down. The dots are ticking. Not going to be enough, though, but still 2 picks and a Web Weaver turn-in as they're going to push on to this front keep wall. Already going to take that down. They've got Greymane, the best siege damage character in the game, going to be pushing through here. And this is looking very tough for gillyShark because I think being levels down, being all those stats down in a composition where you're all magic damage against 2 spell shields is looking very difficult to mount a comeback. Web Weaver's through, that's already 1 keep, and bottom keep is exposed to the Web Weaver already. gillyShark being zoned away as Galaxy Quest finally just pushing forward, getting siege damage. Sonya Greymane, that is a lot of siege damage, Baja, as we might have an additional fight to try and close this one out. Are they going to be able to do it, Baja?
Chess Leader going to get bursted down by the Lunara. Moshpit comes out from ETC, but it won't connect onto anyone as Brett Michaels pops the Wrath Berserker, going to get subjugated, pops their Gladiator's Medallion, and the core is starting to lose its shielding. Brett Michaels will spin away through the Chromie Slowing Sands as there's going to be an Overpower and Shadow Charge into Stark. Wrath Berserker still kicking through for Brett Michaels as there's an Entomb just trying to zone people away, and Zergy Monster will go down to the Sonya, actually to the Lunara, damage over time. They're doing their best to defend against this core, but it looks like the members of Team Happy Cloud take our series in a 2-0 fashion. GG. Well played.